Thank you, viewer. Allow me to proceed from where we left on our discussion on water. The importance of water into the human body. As mentioned earlier, water plays a very important role. Researchers have found that 75% of human body is actually water. And we had looked onto how water is lost from the body from our last presentation, and we realized that the body loses approximately around 2.5 liters in a day of water in a day, and that is lost through our fecal matter, that is lost through sweating, that is lost through the lungs when we breathe out, and a lot again is lost through our kidneys when we urinate. So that is not to mention if there could be a case when someone is crying, then that would be an additional area of water loss. So it is important that water be replaced. So today we want to talk about see or look into what factors will dictate the amount of water that someone takes. Ordinarily, we've heard more than one time that water, taking at least 8 glasses of water is sufficient, but that is only a guide. Many factors come into play when we talk about how much or amount of water that should be taken in a day. And so let us look at a few factors that will determine how much water you need in a day. Number one, your health status will determine the amount of water that you take. If someone is sick and is diarrheaing, for example, the amount of water taken will be higher. If someone has fever, then water will be required much more. If someone is in the stage of menopause, like we had discussed before, this person is experiencing a lot of night sweating and a lot of hot flashes, then of course this person will need more water than someone who is not in that state. So amount of water that you take will actually depend on many factors. To a pregnant mother or a breastfeeding mother will need more water than a lady who is not breastfeeding, because water is required in the making of the milk that the baby needs. If somebody is pregnant, for example, water is required. Remember, the amniotic fluid is actually water. So there is no reason why a pregnant woman should be dehydrated. Otherwise, the baby inside will suffer. So weather condition again will also dictate the amount of water that somebody takes. When the weather is humid and the weather is humid and it's not hot, then the water taken will be less. But in a hot weather, my dear viewer, the amount of water required will exceed the 8 glasses that we are talking about. So weather condition also dictates the amount of water that the body requires. Finally, the type of work that the person is doing will also dictate the amount of water that you take. An example is if somebody is working on a construction site or somebody is doing shamba work, you may find that the water that is required will be much more than a person who is working indoors in a computer or in an office. So the type of work the person does also dictates the amount of water that you take. Exercise will dictate the amount of water that you require. So when you are going to exercise, during the exercise and even after the exercise, the body requires water. So dear viewer, those are some of the guidelines that will dictate the amount of water you require. So it answers the question, the frequently asked question of how much water should I take? How much water should I take? So look onto those areas and ensure that you take a lot of water depending on your health status, depending on weather, depending on your age, depending on the work that you're going to do, and so on and so forth. So allow me at this point to tell you, my dear viewer, that water cannot be replaced by sodas. And I repeat, water cannot be replaced by any drink. I urge you to make water your first choice of liquid. I ask you to make water your first choice of liquid for a healthy body, for optimal functioning of your organs. And allow me to remind you that many organs in the body are surrounded by water, and that calls for understanding that at any one time you don't need to be dehydrated. You don't need to be dehydrated. Make water your first choice of liquid, and you will be more healthy. Allow me say that sodas can never replace water. The body requires water, and pure water. So don't cheat yourself that I've taken sodas to replace water. Water has no replacement. Thank you very much, and be blessed.